Well, I'm recording this on August 1st, and I just capped off the biggest month for my collecting journey ever. I just got back from my first national convention, and even prior to that, I think I already had the most cards I've ever had to be added to my collection in 1 month. This should be a super fun video. I'm going to dive into all the cards I'm adding to my collection from this month, and explain to why me as a collector, these cards are important, and why I'm so excited to own them. I really hope you enjoy this video, and throw a like if you do end up seeing some cards you enjoy, and I'd love to hear your favorite in the comments. Now let's kick it over to the cards. Well, we have a ton of cards, so I hope you all are ready. First off, we have the 2012 Prism Gold Peyton Manning numbered out of 10. So if you haven't already, I would highly recommend listening to my podcast episode or recap the National. This is my biggest pickup of the show. Absolutely love this set, love the player, love the card. I mean, there's just not a ton to say about it beyond that. Full acquisition story is in that video. You'll love it. I think, again, if you like cards, very interesting story of how I acquired this one. And one thing I mentioned in that video too, this one's cracked in 2 spots. So I think we'll get the patented, snap and crack and send to PSA. We're going to try it out. There's never been a copy graded with PSA from what I can tell. Again, only being 10. Most were sent to BGS back in the day, it looks like. So it's a huge one. This is not leaving my collection anytime soon. Probably number 1 or number 2 card now in terms of my preference in my collection. So yeah, big one to start the month off with, but this was towards the end of the month. Then I sorted these by set, not necessarily by like order of acquisition. So I did have one other card from the 2012 Prism Gold set. It was a Chris Johnson. This was from a grading reveal. It was creased, so I knew it was going to be a low grade. Wanted to get it in a slab anyway, just to get it in my set registry and that sort of thing. So cool Chris Johnson here, numbered out of 10. Fantasy football legend, don't really care about the grade. Good luck finding another. That's always the logic I tell myself. Take what you can get. So really cool one, especially in these numbered out of 10s. Next, we have a Tom Brady, another national buy. Blue Refractor out of 2006 Finest. I absolutely love this set. I think it's the best looking Brady Finest set there is. That's just my opinion. I love the pose. And I really like this blue because it matches him, very nicely with the Patriots uniform. And fun fact, I do have the blue X-Fractor in a 10. So now I can pair this one up with that one. So it's an awesome card. Numbered out $2.99, but I think only like a pop 6 or 7. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what it is. But got it at a price that was, too good to pass up at the National. Did not expect to find a card like this, so I did grab it. And again, just awesome one, really cool here. Next, we have another one from a recent grading reveal. So I talked about snapping BGS 9.5s. How about this one? 2002 Finest Peyton Manning Gold Refractor. So I mentioned that 2012 probably being my second favorite. I think this is my number 1. This card is just insane. It took me forever to find one of these. I won a 9.5 from a PWCC auction. Snapped it because it was true gem, but the case was chipped. Ended up getting a PSA 10, numbered out 25. Fun story about this card is it's a pop 4. I know where the other 3 are, which is really neat. So I kind of joined an exclusive club there. And this is really 2002 Finest, just for a heads up for all of you listening, is really the year where you start to see the more modern 2000 sets. So 2002 Finest is where you finally have, the Gold Refractor, the X-Fractor, and then a base refractor as well. So I didn't get crazy with parallels, but all 3 of those refractor types I just mentioned are very, very hard to find. So this is the best one out of them all. Probably I would argue a top, it's got to be the best, in my opinion, best looking Peyton card out of Finest. I really, really like it. You could argue maybe the X-Fractor or some of the later year, like the gold X-Fractors, but I really like this one the most. So, but yeah, just really sweet. And this is probably going to be my favorite for a very, very long time until we somehow eclipse it. But this one's it, man. This is it. Another 9.5 snap is the Charles Woodson Atomic Refractor 98 Bowman's Best rookie card. I've talked about this one in a few videos, so I'm going to go super in depth. But this card is notoriously impossible to find with a serial number. There's a lot of backdoor copies that came out. They were not pack pulled. They were cards that were typically, I think my understanding is they were uncut sheets that people would cut up and then sell the cards. They were like non-produced versions of this card. So this out of 100 is a pack pulled card. I'm really not sure how many of them are out there. This is a pop 11, but I would have to argue after talking with a few different Charles Woodson collectors that this is realistically probably like a pop 4 or 5. Likely many of those do not have serial numbers, so you can't really compare apples to oranges there. I think this one is a top 5 card in my collection. It's arguably my favorite player from the Packers Super Bowl season in 2010, 2011. So yeah, this one just means a lot. One that will never, ever likely be leaving, or if it is, I mean, there's got to be a pretty damn good reason this one ever leaves the collection. So yeah, awesome, pumped on that one. Then I did add a Hines Ward as well. So this draft class is wicked. You got Randy Moss, you got Charles Woodson, you got Peyton Manning. Hines Ward gets forgotten about a little bit, but good. I think Pro Bowl talent. You know, again, I can't remember how many Pro Bowls he was at, but he's a great player for the Super Bowl years with the Steelers here. Obviously, one of their best receivers, and I think one of their, you know, more leaders on their team. So the Packers did beat him. I remember that. And I always thought he was kind of a cheeky player, kind of a guy who would take shots. But yeah, he's a great guy and, you know, nostalgic guy for a lot of people. So wanted to really add this one and kind of pair up with some of these other players that I'm hunting for in this set. It's a nice ad here and fairly reasonable. Again, I just want to make sure the serial number was on there. When I saw a copy that was fairly approachable at a price point, I did grab it. Next, we have a kind of one-off here. No more from this set, just the Jerry Rice here. It's 2003 Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor. Not a ton to say, just the fact that it's Jerry Rice, it's a gold refractor, it's early years of these sets. Unfortunately, Raiders uniform obviously prefer 49ers, but I will grab this one and kind of, you know, start chipping away at maybe a Jerry Rice top 5 or top 10 cards in my collection. This will be a nice addition for that. And speaking of Charles Woodson, we do have 2 more that I added from the National. So 99 Finest, Charles Woodson, PSA 7 for both of them. This is Sensations and the base card. So these do have serial number as well. Another set where very, very, very hard to find cards with that actually have serial number. There's many backdoor copies, so keep that in mind if you're looking at this set. But this is one, you know, 2 cards that I've been looking for a while, and the chance to find them both at the National was just incredible. Shout out to @CardsAndSneaks on Instagram. A lot of these cards did come from others. I'm not going to remember all the names, but he was a guy who at the show actually grabbed these for me when he saw them and then sold them to me for exactly what he paid. Just awesome dude there. And these I will likely be snapping. I prefer no coating. I know some people do like the coating. The coating's not for me. I don't like the look of it. So I will be probably snapping these 2 in the near future. And you'll see a video, you know, grading reveal with those, I'm sure. Up next, we do have one more from 1999 Finest. This is the Warren Sapp. The Woodson I grabbed because I love Woodson. And again, trying to work on like a top 5 or top 10 cards. A lot of these like gold refractors, numbered, just really rare stuff. The Sapp I grabbed because 99 Finest is a set where I've kind of played around with maybe going after the Hall of Famers. So if I can see, you know, a card like Sapp that got offered to me in a trade, I picked him up and, you know, I'll hold on to him for a while. Again, just trying to see if maybe feel out if I like the idea of collecting all the Hall of Famers in this set. Because I don't think there's like an infinite amount. I think there might be like 20 or 30 only. So it would be kind of fun to try to go after that. Next, we have 05 Finest Black X-Fractor Reggie Wayne. Really sweet one from my local friend named Jeremy. He gave me a great deal on a couple, you know, pair of these. So I did pick this one up. Again, same idea where a really, really rare card, parallel to 25. These Black X-Fractors, if I see a Hall of Famer, I do grab it. So he's spotting in the wild, shoot me a message. I'd appreciate it. And he did, again, give me the Reggie Wayne Black X-Fractor out of 06 Finest in a 10. So this one's wicked. I mean, these 10s are impossible to come by. So to be able to add this one of a really great player that I have fond memories for, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer. That's the majority of my collecting here is, you know, you're looking at serial numbered Hall of Famers that I have nostalgia for. That's kind of the trifecta there. So just sets that are very, very, very hard to find. And speaking of 06 Finest, how about this one? We hit this in a recent grading reveal. The Randy Moss Black X-Fractor with the Raiders uniform jersey match. Just a badass card, to be honest. This one, again, will be staying for a very, very long time. Love the design here. Just wicked pairing. I just love the idea of being able to get like all the Hall of Fame wide receivers in this set. I mean, in a 10, that'd be crazy. But, you know, we're going to take what we can get for the time being. Next, we move on to the set that I picked up all of these from. This is all one set. So I mentioned this set in prior videos. It's the 2013 Panini Select Gold Prism Parallel. So I'm working my way on the entire set. I'm working on mostly the base set, which is 100 cards, and the Legend set, which is 50 cards. Now, I did grab a rookie here and one more that I'm going to show you. Really, for the rookies, this is not a great draft class, so I'm only grabbing guys that are all pro, guys that are really memorable, but just because I went for the whole checklist, it'd be way too many. Just not something I'm interested in, picking up 100 guys that pretty much didn't do anything in the league. That's just not anything interesting for me to go after there. So cool one here, Le'Veon Bell, PSA 10. Did get this in a trade. I think it's a pop one as well. So really, again, just very nice one there. And how about the Travis Kelce PSA 9? From a recent grading reveal, this was, I knew, going to be a big one for this set. I'd argue it's probably the second best card in the set outside of the Tom Brady in terms of price point and expensiveness. So to be able to grab this one, you know, I pulled the trigger on a BGS 9, did cross it to a PSA 9, which I'm very, very happy about. This was just a great ad that I'm really pumped about. So the cool thing about this set, and I'm going to move on to the next cards here, the base set, because there's only 100 cards, almost every single player is a Pro Bowler. There's very few guys that are not, and really, you know, not memorable names. Probably the lowest tier here is maybe like a Lamar Miller type guy. He did make one Pro Bowl. He's probably memorable, but not like a top tier player. But I picked this one up a little bit ago in a 10, I think for like, you know, $40 or whatever. So I try to keep an eye out for this set. The the kind of vets who, you know, are kind of no name, I really try not to pay too much. But if I see these legends, that's where I really try to do what it takes to grab them. So, of course, if you ever see this set out in the wild, you know, shoot me a message on Instagram, shoot me a comment on YouTube, whatever it takes to get a hold of me. Really looking for this set. So next we have the Reggie Wayne Gold Prism. This is number 30 in the set, PSA 9. Nice hit here. And then a former teammate, this was an ad from the National, is a Peyton Manning Gold Prism and a PSA 8. Now this one's gorgeous, probably my favorite looking Peyton Manning Panini era card. I just think these golds are so wicked and the design and color is crazy. I'll actually show you the difference here between the 2012 Prism Gold. And this isn't to crap on the 2012 Prism Gold, it's just the looks wise. I just think these are a lot nicer. They're much shinier. This is more of a dull gold on the left. I think a shinier gold on the right. I think left side in terms of value, long term, the Prism's probably always going to be better. I'm just going to assume that. But I like the look of the Select better. So that's kind of neat there. Just want to show you guys the difference. And then we do have another National grab, the Wes Welker in a PSA 10. So cool, you know, Broncos teammates here. And I like how they have the different colored uniforms to get a little bit of both. The next move on to Dwayne Bowe. A nice one, again, more of a vet that is memorable if you played fantasy football, but not a guy who's going to be, you know, remembered for years to come by most fans of the sport. I always, again, I'm working on the whole set, so I got to grab all these guys, and it's fun to be able to pick them up when you can. Then up next, we have another National grab, which is the Bart Starr Gold Prism in a PSA 10. This one's really, really cool. I have a Brett Favre already. I missed out on a Rodgers at the show that I should have pulled the trigger on. But this set's just been a blast to build and, you know, kind of pair up these guys from these different eras that just look so awesome. Part of this set that I really like, and now we're into the Legends set here. It's the number 101 through 150, I believe. All of these sets are Hall of Fame retired guys, and a lot of players for these. These are the only gold prisms that were ever made from Panini. Normally, I don't collect non-playing year cards, but this is the set I want to make an exception for because of the design. And like I said, for a lot of these guys, it's the only gold prism or gold refractor there's ever going to be. I would assume unless they randomly start making more cards for Bart Starr. But yeah, this one's gorgeous. He might be in other sets now that I say that, but this is the only one that I'm aware of that is a gold prism. And this is numbered out of 10, so just awesome. And a heads up, I didn't mention this prior, but the reason I really like this set and I'm trying to go after it is the fact that it's the first year for Select, which is a big deal for football. Basketball had a 2012. 2013 was the first year for football. They did a, I believe, 2014. Then there was a gap for a year for football, and then they came back in 2016. I think that's when they introduced the different levels like you see nowadays, where there's like a concourse, a premier level, and a field level. So back then, there was just one level, which is why this set is so small and actually very challenging, but obtainable to complete the whole set. So I'm, again, having a ton of fun doing this. I've learned a lot so far. And then up next, we have the Bo Jackson. Like I said, this month was crazy for this set. I'm going to keep taking advantage while I can because I know I'm going to hit dry spells here. But when I saw these at the show at the National, I had to make it happen. So there's two actually PSA 10s of this at the show set up, you know, different dealer booths. This one was more reasonably priced, so I made a trade happen on it. Awesome pickup here. Bo is not a guy that I grew up with, but I've recently loved watching YouTube highlights and documentaries of him. Very interesting how crazy of a good athlete this dude was, and his career for football was not that long. He only had 2,700 total yards, which blew my mind. But if you look up his highlights, obviously they speak for themselves, and that's how I've been able to relive Bo Jackson is through the YouTube highlights. But obviously, very, very big ad here because Bo is another really big player for this set that has a big fan base. So up next, we have the Chris Carter. This was a random eBay bin, so I saw it pop up. I grabbed it right away, just price point made sense. Cool one, again, Vikings legend here. Another example of a guy who's retired at this point, but a good card. And again, one of the only, I think, gold prisms for him. So sweet ad there. Then we do the Brett Favre, like I mentioned. So this is a PSA 9. I did grab this one through a deal on Instagram. And this is numbered 4 of 10, which is jersey number, which is sweet. I don't put a ton of importance on that, but when I can grab it and the price is only a little bit higher than you'd expect for a copy, I will always grab it. So this is a really, really sweet ad. Another guy for the Packers, who obviously the team I love, which is awesome. And a few more here. So we have the Edgerrin James, PSA 10. The Emmitt Smith PSA 9. So two superstar running backs right here. Emmitt, I was expecting to be the guy and one of those that was going to be close to impossible to find. Like Barry Sanders, I think in this set's going to be a challenge to find. So many collectors of these guys. So to be able to grab an Emmitt and an Edgerrin here, you know, I had to pull the trigger when I saw them. Nice ones to add to the set. And looking at this, again, it's really just crazy how many I've been able to add. I did not expect it to go this fast, but it's been hitting me left and right, and I got to grab them while I can because there's only 10 copies. And I know once I kind of get this set going, there's probably going to be dry spells, like I already mentioned, where I'm not going to find some for a while. So I'm really trying to take advantage when I can. Another show buy here at the Michael Irvin PSA 9. Cool one, again, Cowboys legend, so I had to pick that up. And then I did get the Steve Young PSA 10. 49ers, obviously legend. Just beautiful, beautiful card here. And this one and the Irvin were both trades from the National. So it's well worth going. I think I got every select gold there from the show. And if you enjoyed seeing these cards and you want to hear more, again, feel free to listen to a podcast episode with me from the National. Hope you enjoy that one. And thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying seeing me grow the collection because I'm having so much fun doing this and I really love making these kind of videos. Hope you have a great rest of your week and I'll see you next time.